Live from the Neptune's Landing recording studio on beautiful Musselman's Lake. Welcome to The Health Detective Live with holistic health expert Brian Gangle. He's helped literally thousands, and today Brian will be answering your nutrition and health-related questions and providing educational information to help you keep and maintain your great health. Brian is not a medical doctor and no medical claims are being stated. Comments made have not been evaluated by Health Canada, the FDA, the FTC, or the USDA and are not intended to diagnose, cure, treat, or prevent any disease. Always consult your medical doctor or healthcare professional before beginning any new protocols. And now, here's Brian.
Hi everybody, welcome to Ask the Health Detective Live. I'm your health detective, Brian Gangle from bgangel.com. I'm a board-certified integrated medicine practitioner, honorary doctorate of humanitarian services, brand ambassador for Premier Research Labs Canada, Canadian diplomat for the Quantum Research Council of America. I'm the certified QRA instructor in Canada, president of the Quantum Health Science Summits, clinical director at Neptune's Landing, and awarded the Order of Excellence in Health Education in 2018 by the World Organization of Natural Medicine. Welcome to today's program. Before we dive into this week's email bag, I want to remind you of some of our live events that we have coming up. Coming up shortly, it's going to be our Vastu Energy Workshop on Monday night, September 30th, 2019. Fast approaching, and if you're listening to the podcast right now, you probably want to slide over to eventbrite.com and key into the search menu Vastu Energy Workshop to get your tickets for only $20. The event is very near capacity. This workshop, we teach you how to utilize the source energies to achieve outrageous health and outrageous wealth, really described as feng shui on steroids, and the energy workshop really focuses in on all of the EMF problems, the electromagnetic smog problems that we have in the environment, which is definitely a primary health concern right now. So make sure you get your tickets over there. It's going to be a 3-hour extravaganza, the Vastu Energy Workshop. For the general public and everyone, you're invited to our Life Frequencies continuing education classes, which are going to be kicking off on October 15th, 2019. These are Tuesday evening, very convenient classes for you to come on out. They start up at 7:30 in the evening. They're 3-hour workshops featuring at least 1 hour of classical nutrition related to a specific subject. And then, of course, we have a guest speaker coming in, and then another hour of a muscle testing workshop. So all combined together to really up the ante and increase your skill level and your education level. And because I have the qualifications, I can offer you CECs, continuing education credits for you, according to your college. So you definitely want to come out to Life Frequencies, and we kick it off on the 15th with an investigation of the biological, electrical field, and energy healing. And then on the 22nd, it's going to be heavy metals with our featured dentist and dental detoxification. And then on the 29th, it's the Vastu Masterclass, and then we have 3 classes in November. You get all the exciting details over at eventbrite.com. Just key into the search menu, Life Frequencies, it will take you right there. And we also have all the details up at our website at bgangel.com. So let's dive into today's episode. The first email we have is from Jen from Ottawa, Ontario. She's 42 years old, 160 pounds, and she is complaining of frequent bladder infections. Well, certainly, Jen, you're definitely not alone. Welcome to America. And, this is definitely an epidemic problem for many, many people. And we often look at this problem from maybe a little bit different perspective than maybe you're used to. When we see reoccurring bladder issues, and they last for a little while, and then they tend to burn themselves out and go away, and then, my goodness gracious, they're right back again. And so when you see this, it can often be linked to some sort of immune-specific condition, an infection in the bladder or the urinary tract, which sometimes is not picked up on typical lab tests. Other culprits are going to be high protein consumption, like a lot of red meat, heavy metal toxicity, and a lack of minerals leading to a low pH level. And you can measure your pH level, Jen, simply by getting your hands on a dirt cheap roll of pH paper, and you dip it in your urine from the first morning urination at the end of the stream, and you're looking for that 6.4 to 7.0 range. That's where you have a nice, healthy, balanced pH. So let's take a look at some of these things. If it is a type of immune-specific condition, like an infection, and a lot of times this can be viral in nature, well then certainly seek out a qualified medical practitioner or a healthcare practitioner or professional who can guide you with that one. But of course we have many ACEs that you can try on the traditional natural side. We have the oleuropein found in the olive leaf supplementations, and of course we have the oil of oregano. Those are wonderful guys, and they're very well known. If you're going to need a little bit more muscle, well then we certainly have some ACEs that we can use there. And you can learn more about these products because there's a couple in particular that I'm particularly fond of. The oleuropein, we have one called Olive Leaf Immune, and this is from my good friends at Premier Research Labs Canada. And this guy really provides all the synergist transporters, cofactors to go along with the oleuropein, the olive leaf, to really give it the full muscle and the oomph that you're looking for. If you need targeted support, we can bring in a product called Uravin. This is a wonderful dietary supplement. It's a nutraceutical bladder formula, and it contains two combinations in one formula. And the first is something called Bladder Pro, which contains the legendary fruit for the bladder, cranberry, along with some marshmallow root and the world-famous hydrangea root, which is also a wonderful, wonderful herb for the bladder. Organic parsley and organic chlorella round out that combo. But then we also have Uri Cleanse, which contains the organic rice fiber, the organic alfalfa, and of course a little bit of the world-famous olive leaf, a little bit of blueberry fruit in there as well. And all of these guys provide critical bioflavonoids and critical nutraceutical compounds necessary for helping with the bladder, and in particularly support for the bladder and their urinary tract. This is a wonderful, wonderful combination, and I usually take a couple of capsules up to 3 times a day in maintenance, and you know what? Sometimes that's just enough muscle to get the job done. In a little bit more difficult cases, we may want to bring in Cardio ND, another product from Premier Research Labs Canada. Cardio ND gets us the garlic oil, the cayenne, bilberry, motherwort, hawthorn, all of the cardiotonics. But the beauty is it tends to travel in the bloodstream. It gets absorbed very, very well. And once it gets picked up, it can travel through the bloodstream to areas in the body where we have immune-specific conditions and really knock the spots off some of those invaders. So those things can definitely help you out. Obviously, going to a whole food, plant-based diet for a short period of time and cutting out the animal protein. These are things which are famous in the China Study diets from Colin Campbell, who did that very famous study and wrote the book, The China Study, and many other well-known practitioners out there which have been advocates of the whole food, plant-based movement. But we find that by eliminating the high foods high in acidity, like the red meat in particular, and the heavily, highly heated cooked meats and those hydrogenated oils, just getting that gobbledygook out of the diet also lowers the burden on the bladder and the urinary tract. So these are definitely things that you can try. At the same time, a lot of times we find that the heat shield on the spacecraft, if you will, the urethra and the bladder, they can become very irritated, and there's a wonderful nutrient called ultrapolin. And the ultrapolin is actually pristine flower extracts from the blossoms. And the mold spores have been removed so you don't end up with any allergic response. And this ultrapolin contains over 400 of the critical bioflavonoids, really devoid in the food supply, but a wonderful ace in the hole for you here to help with the urinary tract and the bladder. And so much research has been done on this guy, and that's one of my absolute favorite nutrients. And Jen, you know what? I think if you try those 3 things along with some dietary changes, I think you're going to get some wonderful support here and really lessen some of the aggravation that you're experiencing from these frequent reoccurring bladder infections. And thank you for writing in. Now, you know that if you want your nutrition and health-related questions answered, just send me a line to thehealthdetective911@gmail.com, or my alternative email address, which is bgangel777@gmail.com. Next, Tanya from Calgary, Alberta. Boy, I love the Calgarians out there. You got a wonderful, wonderful area out there. It's just absolutely beautiful, and the air is beautiful. She's 36 years old, just 119 pounds, and she's 5'4", and she's complaining of dry, brittle hair. Well, certainly you're not alone. This is also a really serious epidemic right now, as so many people are complaining of this exact same issue. And I had dry hair for a very, very long time, and then I started to look at things from a little bit different perspective. And one of the perspectives was, I was wondering if maybe it was time for me to do an oil change in my body, and it's the kind that Jiffy Lube couldn't do. So essentially what I was talking about is a liver and gallbladder cleanse and flush. And so what I did is, we studied with Dr. Robert Marshall years ago, and he had a wonderful, simple, easy-peasy cleanse that we could do for the gallbladder and the liver. And I think if you slide over to some of our other sister podcasts like Nutrition That Really Works, and over at Departure Delayed, we talk about gallbladder and liver cleanses. So I'm not going to go into that there. You can slide over to those wonderful podcasts and give them a listen. And you can access all of our podcasts wherever you pick up and listen to your famous podcasts. But one of the things that helped out also was linking it to a poor diet. And when I got rid of the hydrogenated oils and the fried foods out of my diet, some 30 years ago, and then started to do some simple liver and gallbladder cleansing, I noticed that oil was starting to return back to my scalp. And when I saw that, I could see that I was starting to get the luster back in the hair, and all of a sudden, I was using my hairbrush, and I noticed there was less hair in the hairbrush. And this was my clue that the dryness on the scalp and the galea, the actual scalp itself, was actually starting to moisten up, and then you found that you actually had less hair falling out, less brittleness in the hair, and then it was much more supple, and of course it had a lot more luster to it, and that leads to really healthy, glowing hair, and that's what you're after, Tanya. Now, the other things is it could also be linked to bacteria infections and fungal infections on the scalp itself, which can cause dandruff. And of course, when we see dandruff, that's certainly a sign that you may be consuming too many sugars in the diet. When too many sugars the body's going to look for unique ways to get rid of it. And so certainly when we see that, you're going to see your pH level dropping, a lack of minerals, and you're going to start to see dandruff. And so a lot of times we can see a backup of waste products from the liver again, and those waste products can get jammed into your largest organ, which is your skin, and eventually make its way to the scalp. So these are all things that are going to be leading to the dry hair syndrome. It's interesting, in Oriental medicine, the condition of the hair is said to be a direct reflection of the blood. And the organs responsible for cleansing the blood are going to be especially the kidneys and, of course, the liver itself. So you're going to want to pay attention to those guys. And that's where doing the flush really helps you out in many ways, because then you're going to notice your hair, your nails, and your skin may return back to the way they were many, many moons ago. Now, when we see the dry skin, also take a look at the shampoos, Tanya, that you're using. If they contain sodium lauryl sulfate, cocamide DEA, polypropylene, glycerols, pearlizing agents, fragrances, alcohols, all of these things are going to have a profound effect on the moisture content in the hair, and of course it's going to eventually lead to a buildup of residue, which then can choke off the follicles and prevent the nutrients critical for healthy, lustrous hair making their way down the shaft of the hair. And so we want to make sure that we kick that junk out of the body. Once that's out of the way and we've cleaned up the gallbladder and the liver and we've removed any potential of an immune-specific condition at that site, then I think that we're going to look at doing that oil change I was talking about. And that's where we can bring in the healthy oils. Healthy oils that I would recommend would be, of course, number one would be coconut oil. And my friends at Premier Research Labs make a wonderful coconut oil that you can pick up. And at the same time, I would be looking at using Moroccan olive, sesame, flax, borage oil, healthy oils, not highly heated, of course, and, really avoid using oils when it comes to cooking. Anytime you cook and heat an oil, you create a partially hydrogenated oil, you damage that oil, and any of these molecularly distilled oils that we buy as supplements, I want to probably avoid any of those guys because it's probably not going to be the oil in the natural state, and that's really what you're looking for. The foods that are going to have natural oil is going to be the nuts and the seeds and the avocado. I mean, that's where you're going to be picking up beautiful natural oils from nature. And I got to tell you, if you do those simple things that I just told you, I think you're going to find a dramatic change in your hair. And the people around you are going to make a lot of comments, and you're going to notice that change a lot sooner than you imagined. And thank you for writing in, Tanya. Last, certainly not least, we have Edna from Cornwall, Ontario. She's 68, 152 pounds, and she's complaining of varicose veins. Well, certainly this is something that is not new. This has been an ongoing concern, and many millions of people suffer from this issue. If left unchecked in certain cases, yes, it could become a serious health concern, so you don't want to let that go there. The medical does have a solution for you. They can do certain types of operations, and they have many procedures that they can do on the varicose veins. I think before you opt for a medical solution for it, unless you're in dire straits, I think that you're going to maybe want to try some things maybe on the natural side first. You can always return to a medical solution later if you don't get some results from some simple things. Very first and foremost, it could be linked again to immune-specific concerns like infections, the inability of the body to eliminate waste products, which then could get jammed into the varicose vein. Certainly a sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise, is going to be a big contributor here. Of course, a diet high in refined carbs and cooked foods and highly heated foods and excessive protein consumption all could be contributing factors. In fact, in Oriental medicine, the varicose veins are linked to liver toxicity and stagnation. Thus, a liver cleanse is going to be in order. And if you want to learn how to do an easy-peasy liver detox, Edna, certainly seek out a qualified QRA practitioner in your area who can help you out to really do this properly and test you from tip to toe to look for those energetic imbalances in the organ and gland systems. And at the same time, they can also test for those pesky interference fields, the blockages in the electrical nerve flow, which could easily be creating blockages in the normal drainage, especially in the areas of the legs. So if we take a look at the pH, the acidity, this has certainly been linked to varicose veins as well. The Spaniards many years ago had a wonderful supplement. They had discovered a special compounds that were derived from the blood oranges, which was legendary for varicose vein supports. And in the blood orange, there was these two bioflavonoids, diazepam and asparagine. And you can get both of these critical bioflavonoids in a product from Premier Research Labs Canada called Vendamend, spelled Venamend. That's a trademark name. And it contains the diazepam and asparagine from the natural orange fruit extract, and it's been extracted out to provide at least a minimum of 80% extraction. And of course, we also get some of the colostrum, which acts like a stand-in immune system and provides you almost 26% immunoglobulins, so kind of borrowing the immune system from the animal. And of course, a little bit of the marine coral to help you to raise up your pH, which is 2 parts calcium, 1 part magnesium, fully ionized. So the Vendamend is a wonderful support. And I like to take a couple of them daily for a few months, and then I'll take 1 capsule daily afterwards as maintenance. So I think if you follow some of those suggestions, Edna, I think you're going to find some great support for them, for those varicose veins. And in many of the clinical cases that I have looked at, we've had dramatic results in just under 3 months. And really, this is something that can be solved. So thank you so much for writing in. I think that that's a problem that many of the people in the listening audience also suffer from as well, and certainly I think that these suggestions will have a profound effect for you. Then thank you for writing in. Again, if you want your nutrition and health-related questions answered, by all means, just drop me a line to thehealthdetective911@gmail.com or my alternative email address at bgangel777@gmail.com. I'm glad to get your questions answered and get your questions on the air, because who knows, your questions may be the rest of the listening audience's questions. Now, remember, come on out to see us our live events. We have our Vastu Energy Workshop on Monday, September 30th, 2019. Really fast approaching as we're Thursday right now. We're literally 4 days away from this exciting event, and you can get your last-minute tickets over at eventbrite.com. That's that wonderful ticketing portal service, and just key into the search menu, Vastu Energy Workshop. And I'll be seeing you there, because it's going to be another drink from the fire hose, I promise. And our life frequency events. Get all the details at my website at bgangel.com, and you can learn all about life frequency, our continuing education classes in the month of October and the month of November. Until next time, I'm the Health Detective Brian Gangle from bgangel.com, wishing blessings to you all until we meet again. Bye for now.